Make a case for the Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions, they've been a great offense all season long. They've got a veteran quarterback in Jared Goff. And doesn't it just feel like it's been building in Detroit? So if you have any offense that maybe can go toe-to-toe with the San Francisco 49ers, maybe this is it. And maybe this is the team that's been flying under the radar just a little bit. Like, how many people are going to look at Jared Goff and say, oh, this is the quarterback that's going to take down the San Francisco 49ers? Probably on the road. Probably not, but still, this is a solid team. So I am not somebody who is going to put my money on the Lions, but would I be absolutely falling out of my seat if the Lions win the NFC title? Not really. I think there's actually a case for the Lions to win it here.
Chelsea, do you believe that Dan Campbell is intimidating? That he might be able to break your kneecaps?
Yes.
Could he? Yes.
Probably.
And is it unreasonable to assume that if he could break your kneecaps, that he could break someone else's kneecaps, and that intimidation could lead to perhaps a victory for the Detroit Lions? I do. I rest my case. Green Bay Packers, what do you think?
The way Jordan Love's playing right now. And I think it's a little square to just look at each quarterback and say, okay, this is the case. But it is the most important position on the field. But this goes two ways, because it's not just the quarterback play for Green Bay that's been really good. It's been Aaron Jones running behind that line of scrimmage and also being really effective in the run game. When you have a young quarterback and the run game's going, it takes a ton of pressure off the quarterback position when you can run the ball effectively. And also that secondary, that defense, making some big plays last game. Granted, a lot of it was the Cowboys choking, but this is a team that is young, that is not playing with a ton of pressure. I think Green Bay is playing with house money, and maybe that is their path to the title. And we know this season has not been as perfect as maybe Kansas City has hoped. But Jenks, what's the case for Kansas City winning the Super Bowl? Do you think there is still a good team in there somewhere?
Yeah, I think the case is twofold, which is going to sound really cliche, but it's the truth. It's Andy Reid, it's Patrick Mahomes. There's no question that Patrick Mahomes, when he is on his game, is as good as anyone on the planet. No question about it. You're talking about guys who have been there before. You're talking about one of the best head coaches, a Hall of Fame head coach. So if there's any, I would say any combination of head coach and quarterback that could rise above and come up with a game plan and come up with some sort of incredible performance at quarterback to lead your team to victory, it's the Chiefs. And by the way, one thing we should mention, the Chiefs have a great defense. They have a top 5 defense. We just don't think about the Chiefs and defense in the same sentence, but I would say that's the case for Kansas City.
Right. There are still great parts on that team. And you look at some of their bad losses this year, or ones that came down to the final minutes, it's simply because receivers could not catch passes. So these are NFL caliber receivers. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but maybe they make some of those catches. Like, that seems like a pretty easy fix. And if you fix Travis Kelce, last game felt like one of his better games in quite some time, at least from a stats perspective, because Travis Kelce was tight end number 1 across the league for quite some time. And then this year, he's been putting up dud after dud after dud. And it just feels like maybe it's because there are, fewer guys to key in on, so they can really limit the defensive attention to Travis Kelce. But he had a good game last week. So if Travis Kelce is back to the level that he's been playing on, especially in the postseason, he used to be unguardable in the playoffs. He was an anytime touchdown machine. So if you get him going, the defense plays like it has all season long, and Andy Reid cooks up something, Patrick Mahomes has a little magic, I don't think it would be crazy if the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl yet again. And I think that's what everybody kind of expects if you believe in the NFL script. Let's go on to the Buffalo Bills. We were just kind of talking about how close they've been. Josh Allen at his best looks like a quarterback that is unguardable. But then you have the low end where Josh Allen gives the ball away. He throws the picks. He fumbles it. So it feels like a very volatile team. So, Jenks, make the case for the Bills and the high-end potential.
The high-end potential is, let's not forget that this is a team that was favored to win the Super Bowl at the start of the season. We kind of tossed the Bills to the trash heap mid-season and said, well, It's just not going to happen. But if we're talking about the preseason prognostications, Buffalo was up there with the best teams in the NFL. And you said it. If Josh Allen holds on to the football and they are able to play offensively without giving it away, they can play with anyone. So the case for the Bills, I don't think you have to make a strong case to make a case. Now, they're banged up on defense, but outside of that, this is still the Bills team that many people thought would be in this position. It's just that they've had to make a run. They just didn't get here the way we thought they would get here.
Bills have Mahomes figured out. He's 1-3 against them in the regular season. Or does the Mahomes magic continue over the Bills when it counts? 2-0 in the playoffs. That's coming up, of course, this weekend. Jenks, Bills, Chiefs. Who's got the advantage?
Bills. Buffalo Bills. Here's the thing. Yes, this Mahomes magic has been a thing in the playoffs, but this is the Patrick Mahomes playing with much better teams. And so as much as Patrick Mahomes has certainly been the leader of those teams and the reason why, or one of the primary reasons why the Chiefs have won those games, this is the first time I feel like in a long time that a Patrick Mahomes team feels inherently vulnerable. Like even before when the Chiefs would struggle maybe midway through the season or near the end of the regular season, you'd be like, yeah, but it's the Chiefs. It's Andy Reid. It's Patrick Mahomes. They'll be fine. This year, I'm not buying it. I feel like the Chiefs are ripe for the picking. They're ripe for the beating. And I am not convinced that they're any better than we saw over the last few weeks of the season because they beat a Dolphins team that had no business playing in the cold. I think I think the motivational factor for the Bills here will be through the roof because finally, they get to host Kansas City, which is what they've wanted to do for years, and now is their chance. I'm going with the Bills.
Doesn't it feel that way? Because this is not one-on-one basketball. Like, it's not Patrick Mahomes against Josh Allen. Like, it's not the way it is. And we have seen that Patrick Mahomes is human because he has this core of receivers who have frying pans for hands. So, that's going to be a thing. If you want to count on this Chiefs team in a close game and it depends on a receiver catching, a third or a fourth down play in the end zone, that's not something I want to do. We have seen this happen before where when Patrick Mahomes is on a team with a big weakness, it kind of cost him. Granted, it was in the Super Bowl, but remember that Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Bucks where the offensive line was terrible for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes had one of the worst games of his career. So he can't do it all by himself. If just Giselle was on the broadcast for this, she would say, he can't throw and catch the ball by himself. Remember that famous line she said about Tom Brady? Still true for Patrick Mahomes. So I think the better overall team is the Buffalo Bills. And I never thought I would say this, but it feels like the Bills actually have the higher ceiling than the Kansas City Chiefs. Because if Josh Allen can take care of the football, this is a team that looks like it can beat anybody in the NFL. And I'm talking about the San Francisco 49ers as well. That top end potential is totally there for the Buffalo Bills, especially the way that Josh Allen has been running the football as well. So I'll go with the Bills here. I begrudgingly do that because also there's the low end potential where Josh Allen throws 3 picks, but still, I think I will go with the Bills.